All right, ladies and gentlemen. Next up is the AFC East. Dylan, what you got for me, man?
Man, we got the Patriots. Patriots lost, man, their offensive line coach they've had for the last 25 years.
Eeh.
I'm gonna mess his name up. Dante Scarnecchia. This
Yes,
is
and I
this
believe
is a
he
guy.
retired.
Yeah, he retired after 25 years. This is a guy the Patriots have had. It's kind of a dark horse, if you will. If you want to talk about the Patriots dynasty and what's helped them be successful for the last however many years, one of the big blocks is him. They have turned offensive linemen, out of nowhere, taking
Yeah,
undrafted guys for all pro guys.
produce.
They
No
have
pressure, no nothing.
done nothing but produce offensive linemen, turning guys into free agents, big time free agents, yada yada yada. The Patriots didn't
Yep.
sign them; they let some other team sign them, and then
Yep.
they just keep producing talent. The Patriots have Cam Newton coming in. You talk about a guy who can, completely change how their offense looks. There's definitely still a question mark for, the talent that was around, Tom Brady last season. But Cam comes in and he, can alleviate some of that things with, mobility, with creativity, with extending plays. The
Okay.
scheme is
I
still
got a
there.
quick
Go ahead.
question.
Go ahead.
You truly believe Cam will start over Jarrett Stidham? Because I've heard that they're pretty high on him. They really like Jarrett Stidham to start.
I I would think, me personally, I would still like to think that if Cam Newton is at 100%, he's still a
Yeah.
top 10 quarterback in this league.
Okay. All
You
right.
you know what we saw last season was a shell. What we saw last season was a guy who was putting his body on the line.
Absolutely.
And it's hard, man, when your body's not working right to go out and do the rest of it.
Won't put
Uh,
his body on the line for a fumble in the Super Bowl,
hey,
though.
hey,
Anyways, continue.
but he was in the Super Bowl,
That's
and,
true.
and
That's
he was
true. Can't
MVP that
take
season.
that. That's true.
So yeah, man, I think Cam Newton's still the dog. If the Patriots are entertaining the idea at all of tanking for Trevor Lawrence, don't start Cam Newton. He's
Okay.
gonna go. He's gonna get you a handful of wins on his own.
Right.
I think this guy's, he's still capable of being the guy for a franchise, and I'm excited to see him. Josh McDaniels is very innovative, has run a very good offense, obviously with Tom Brady, and you have your weapon X now in Cam Newton, and kind of
Yeah.
see how they use him, see how they, whether it's quarterback
ARPO.
runs, motions,
Okay.
RPOs, like you said, yeah. There's a whole new array of options that Josh McDaniels has now with a guy like Cam under center.
And they've got that
Um,
gadget guy, Julian Edelman. Never heard of
they
him.
still have nah, they still have Julian Edelman.
Speedster. Nikhil Harry, man. Nikhil Harry, young rookie. I think he was banged up pretty good
Is he
last year.
considered a speedster? I know he got hurt a little bit. I know him and Tom Brady never really found it.
Yeah.
Um,
They were trying to they're trying to use him as a speedster, I believe,
okay,
last year. Kind of
okay,
that burner deep guy.
okay. And it's rare that the Patriots take a wide receiver in the first round. So I mean, they got to
Yeah.
have a plan for him, right?
Absolutely.
You would think that he would have almost played a bigger role than he did last season. The Patriots got hit really hard with the opt outs, man. They had 9 total, but it's not just like random guys. They had 3 of them that have been longtime starters. Guys who have Super Bowl rings.
When I
We're
think of
not.
the Patriots defense, man, I think of Patrick Chung, man. That's
Uh,
like one of my staple names I think of.
he's one of those
That's
guys out.
yeah, he opted out.
Absolutely. And let me find that list real quick.
Brandon Bolden, Marcus Cannon, Dan Vitale.
Dante
Who was
Hightower's the big one. Their middle linebacker for a long time.
Yep, yep. Matt Lacrosse. I think that was their punter or kicker. I'm not really sure.
And then Marcus Cannon is their
Yes.
starting right guard, has been for a long time. And then
Yep.
they signed this offseason Marquise Lee from the Jaguars. I
Yep.
would guess that he would have came in and contributed at wide receiver. So you
Okay.
maybe call him a starter, maybe not. They lost 3 or 4 guys who are going to contribute big time. And then the most important of them all, man, is they had the goat walk out the building. Tom Brady's in Tampa.
Ugh, I don't
Um,
know who that guy is.
yeah,
Never
don't know
heard.
who that guy is. Yeah, for sure.
Never
He
heard.
might be he might be a good football player. I'm not sure. Um, again, you talk about the Patriots way. You talk
Absolutely.
about Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Half of the Patriots way is no longer in New England. And
Yep,
so
that's true.
you're sitting there and you're
No,
looking at guys, who expects greatness from everybody. That
past
was Tom
past couple of
Brady.
years, the question always was, is it Belichick or is it Tom Brady? We get to
Yeah,
find that out this
we
year.
absolutely get to find out, and I'm excited to watch him play as a Buck.
Yep.
Um,
Like Bill
it's
Belichick. Do you think Bill Belichick keeps this team together the way he has, or do you think they struggle and they actually end up at the bottom of the draft, which they usually never are? I'm sorry, the top of the draft, really. That's kind of
Sure. With a high draft pick. It's tough to say, man. It really is. Tom Brady left. They've got all the opt outs.
yeah, that hurts.
They, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, if they're not trying to win games next year, it'll look like it, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah,
Look at, if Cam's the starter, if they're using Cam like he is the weapon X, then obviously they're trying to win games.
yeah.
If they have Cam Newton under center handing the ball off to Sony Michel, they're probably not, trying very hard to win games.
Not running
Um,
RPOs, not
yeah,
running.
if they're not using him as the weapon that he is, and then if Cam Newton isn't even starting, I mean that says a lot right there. I don't know how they're going to move the ball up and down the field. Jarrett Stidham, there's just too many question marks. I mean, we haven't seen enough of him at all to have any kind of idea what he can be as a quarterback.
Do we even have any sample size of him? I don't. I honestly can't remember a time I've ever watched him play. I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean
maybe preseason prior to this, but
it's all
I don't.
preseason stuff.
I still really haven't seen much of it. I've never like been like, wow, that guy could be really good.
Yeah, and he was a five-star recruit coming out of high school. Originally went to Baylor, ended up at Auburn. It wasn't a high draft pick. I don't know, man. There's too many question marks there.
There's question marks all over this team,
All
especially
over this
with
team.
it doesn't help with opting out. That hurt them a lot. But uh, man, there's question marks everywhere. Defense,
I
offense, O line, new coach. Like coaching,
Yeah,
coaching is like gold in the NFL. Coaching is everything. Um, it's I think it's a lot of time overlooked when it comes to football teams, and
sure.
I truly believe it's they have a fantastic leader in Bill Belichick, but position coaches are mainly who those guys spend time with, and
Sure.
they've been so consistent with that same guy, and now he's gone. So I'm interested to see what that offensive line looks like.
Yeah. And it's crazy to think, man, that the Patriots had what we would consider a down year last year, and they still went 12-4, and they were
Yeah,
still in the playoffs. And so,
absolutely.
it's crazy, man. I mean, if we're sitting here and we could call it a true rebuild year for the Patriots, and they may still go 8-8. I mean,
That's
this is
very true.
Bill Belichick, and this is arguably one of the greatest coaches of all time. And yeah, he's not going to have Tom Brady, but the man has still got the scheme. He's still got everything else cooking. So. I think his job's a lot harder this year for sure. But I wouldn't be surprised if they still win this division. I
Yeah,
really wouldn't. I guess with that being said too, I wouldn't be surprised if they only win 5 games next year. There's too much. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to feel about the Patriots, honestly.
right.
There's too many moving parts, too many moving pieces, too many things that are question marks.
Well, I think let's move into the Bills, man. The
Go
I
ahead.
think the actual most likely the contender for the number one
Contender.
spot.
Yeah.
Um, they my biggest question for the Bills, man, is did their offense improve enough to contend? Josh Allen's got to produce. Um, I don't I don't really see many people he can learn from behind him with Matt Barkley and Davis Webb as his two backups there.
Sure.
Um, making the massive trade for Stephon Diggs
Stephon
will
Diggs.
help
Yeah.
a lot. They've got the speedster John Brown on the outside as long as he can stay healthy. Cole Beasley in the slot, always been producing, always been reliant. I think he didn't really get into rhythm last year. Cole Beasley, I think he was kind of getting used to everything. He's been with Dallas for so long, but I think their receiving core is fantastic. I think Josh Allen could become great if he produces. I think that's the biggest question for this Bills team. Um, the offensive line has never been like, oh my God, I got to look at that team, but they're great. They're great up there. Um, the front five has been phenomenal. I just don't know if Devin Singletary can produce behind them in the run game.
Yeah.
That's their biggest question mark on offense. Is Devin Singletary a workhorse like they want him to
Yeah,
be?
and he was the rugby superstar, and he's a
Yeah,
young player, and he seemed to, at least in the preseason, had some crazy long runs. I
Yeah. Oh
think
yeah.
he on his first ever carry in the preseason, it was like a 70-yard touchdown. Um,
Dang.
so man,
Yeah.
let's excited to see what he can do as a full time starter.
Yeah. I mean, he got a lot of work last year. Him and TJ Yeldon kind of back and forth all season long last year. People are like, man, is Devin Singletary ever going to take over this offense on the
Mm,
running back position? Man, is he going to do it? And then he would produce one week, and then he wouldn't produce, and he was just
sure.
kind of all over the place. And so I'm interested to see if they can continue with him. I think he's good enough to produce
Okay.
behind that offensive line. Josh Allen, as long as again I think it's the running back position is their weakest. But if Josh Allen can continue producing, the boy can move. Let's just say that.
He can.
He's a big boy and he can run.
And he can throw it
Uh,
really far
he,
too.
he dug the Bills. Yeah, he can. He dug the Bills out of a lot of holes last year with his feet. So I think that kind of surprised everybody last year. So I'm interested to see what he can do, how he can develop. Um, I don't think I'm not really sure. Actually, yeah, they didn't have any coaching changes in the top three. They didn't have any head coach change, OC change, or defensive coordinator change. So, if they, that consistency helps a lot, man. We both know that as former
Sure.
football players, we never had that when we
Yeah.
played for a team. So, um, yeah, man, I think that'll help them a lot. I think Josh Allen gets another year under Brian DeBole, and they'll get to continue. I've actually really liked the Bills' offense, but let's go ahead and talk about their defense, man. Ed Oliver holding it down in the
There you
middle.
go.
I think he's going to be great. Ed Oliver's got another year to develop. I think their their defense has a lot of young 2-year guys. Tremaine Edmonds starting, Ed Oliver obviously. Those are two big names. You got Josh Norman holding it down on the outside. Um, I think Micah Hyde came from Green Bay pretty recently. I'm not exactly sure, um, but I think they're solid on D. I don't really have any too many question marks there. Um, I think their biggest question is going to be that offense. So
Yeah, man. When I think about the Bills, I think about playing defense.
uh,
And kind of like you said, it's it's not that they have superstars on defense. They just seem to have a good unit overall. And
yeah,
they seem to have drafted well. That's coaching staff has been there for a couple years now, and so they're gonna be they're gonna be stopping people, slowing people down.
yeah, they
Um,
always have been.
yeah,
I don't really see that being a problem for them. I really think that running back position and Josh Allen continuing. I think they'll be. I, I truly believe the Bills can actually be better than 10-6. They were ten and
okay,
six last season. I
okay,
think that's more than enough to beat the Patriots out,
sure,
um, especially with how many question marks are on the Patriots. So I actually
sure,
think the Bills run this division next year.
right on, right on.
So what we got next?
All right, man. Let's jump right into the Jets.
Okay.
Um, the Jets' biggest loss this offseason was Jamal Adams. Um, they got a bunch from the Seahawks as far as first round draft picks. Jamal Adams was acting a fool, man, calling everybody out on Twitter.
Videos on
Yeah,
YouTube and Twitter. Bring me to Dallas. Bring me to
it's
Dallas.
one of those things, man, where it's like you want to keep these superstars, man, but when they start acting like that, you can't. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
you
You
have to
gotta.
let them go. You got to let them slide. Hopefully the rest of the team can come up and help fill those shoes. I think the Jets drafted really well. They took Mekhi Becton in the first round. They took Denzel Mims in the second round. When you look at that team last year, they needed offensive line help and they needed wide receiver help.
They,
Um,
they
so
filled those holes right there.
they did absolutely. You have Le'Veon Bell and Adam Gase kind of going into year two together. Their
Yeah.
head coach and their starting running back, and so I'm excited to see what Le'Veon Bell can bring. Le'Veon Bell was obviously extremely productive, maybe considered the best running back in the game when he was a Steeler. Took that year off. Had one season as his Jet that was underwhelming. So kind of can he get back to shining? It's
Yeah.
year two.
Yeah.
It's here. He's here now. And
I
that's
think
man, honestly, yeah,
I think my biggest thing for the Jets is Sam Darnold. I think he's going to be phenomenal for them. A lot of people were like, "Oh, he's okay, he's okay." Nah, I think Sam Darnold is very, very good at quarterback.
Okay.
I think helping him out with Denzel Mims and getting him some protection will help. As
Yeah.
long as he can avoid mono and COVID, he'll be
Yeah.
fine, man. I really think the Jets, because that hurt them last year. People don't say
Absolutely.
it, but I think him being out. How long was he out? A week, 2 weeks?
I think it was 3 or 4 weeks, something like
I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
I know he missed a couple games, and that hurts. You got Joe Flacco backing him up. We all know he's okay. Let's be honest. Joe Flacco's not very good.
He's
He
not
used
super good. No.
he carried the Baltimore. He carried Baltimore to a Super Bowl, and that was it. He
Yeah.
got paid, and he just kind of was like, "Oh, I got paid. I'm good." So I think Sam Darnold, as long as he stays healthy, this offense will produce. I actually really like the Jets' offense. Their defense is pretty good. Quinnen Williams, young boy, I loved seeing him get drafted. Man, that boy just looked goofy.
He was excited. He
Yeah,
was.
he was.
He's
He
a
looked
young
goofy
kid,
up
man.
there.
Young kid. He's having
I mean,
fun.
yeah. Yeah. But,
So hopefully, Sam Darnold, Le'Veon Bell, and Denzel Mims can kind of be their big three.
yeah,
Carry them.
has to be. Has to be.
I don't know if they'll contend for the division. I think we're kind of in agreement that the Bills are going to be up there.
Yeah.
But I think this is a team that should be better, should be looking up. They've got a lot of things going in the right direction. Even with losing Jamal Adams.
I think talking opt out list, I think their biggest hit was most likely Josh Doxson, but I don't think he was that great in the first place. He was more of a jump ball guy, and he still couldn't produce in the red zone. But I mean, I don't know if you got any more about the Jets, but I was gonna
I
talk
don't, man. I
about
didn't have much
the
for them.
the best upgraded team in the NFL next year,
Oh, go ahead.
and that's the Miami Dolphins, man.
There you go, dude.
They made a huge jump, I think, from last year. Give me 1 second. I think Tua coming out the draft, had a lot of question marks on him because of his, hip injury. I think that was a big problem for a lot of people, but I think the Miami Dolphins got him as a steal, man. I don't think he's going to start this year. I think a lot of people just assumed being a first round pick, I think it was a top five, I think he was
He was
number
number
five.
5. Yep.
Yeah. So being picked five, but a lot of people expect you, hey, rookie, top five talent coming into the draft. I don't think he's going to start. I
You
think
don't think
Ryan.
he'll start at all this year?
I think he's going to start if Ryan Fitzmagic doesn't go off like he usually does his first four
Okay.
games.
Okay.
But Fitzmagic coming out the gate usually comes out hot, man.
Yeah.
So I don't think he may start till maybe week 5, 6. It really just depends on how well Ryan Fitzpatrick does.
Okay.
Um,
I can see
I
that.
don't really know. I don't really know if this team is 100% rebuilding. I think they're trying to, with Brian Flores at the helm. I think they're shooting for next year as their target. I think their goal is to come out strong in 2021. I
Sure.
think that's what they're shooting for. I think that's what they're building for. They drafted a lot of young offensive linemen to protect Tua. They want to develop them. They may not even want Tua to touch this field that we don't know that, but they might not even want Tua to touch the field. They want him to rehab and learn from Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
Devontae Parker was an absolute stud at the wide receiver position for them. Um, he he was phenomenal. I think Preston Williams
Preston
as
Williams came
well.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, he started getting hot towards the end. They drafted a lot. I mean, this team has so much youth.
Yeah.
I think they just want to more or less develop them because I think a lot of these rookies may not even touch the field, which is kind of crazy because they drafted all of them this year. They had what, like 13 picks? I
Yeah,
don't
the
know,
tank
10
for
picks.
Tua turned into a lot of draft picks
Yeah,
for
they
not
they
just this year, but next year too. They're
yeah.
gonna
So
they're
I
gonna
mean
be a
that
team that owns
I
the
think
draft
they're
next year.
I think the 2021 goal is, not out of the question for them. They may not start Tua. They may not start a lot of their youth. at offensive line, or they may start them because I think offensive line experience is very important. So we'll see. We'll find out. With Chan Gailey running the helm over there, we'll figure out what they want to do. I really believe you can't go wrong. Brian Flores and Josh Boyer running the defense over here. Like they came on strong last year, especially towards the end. They got really really strong. Um, not a lot of big names on this defense, but they produced, especially late in the season. They started getting into rhythm and they started doing well. Kyle Vinoy, I think he kind of came out as a leader, man. But I mean, Shaq Lawson on the line. I mean, they've got a couple young guys up there, but I really
Sure,
think they're trying to produce on offense. I think they're
sure.
they're all in on this offense, so
I think
they
the
can build
signing
it
of
on Tua.
Byron Jones, I think their secondary is going to be phenomenal. You've got Jordan Howard, or I'm sorry, that's not the right name.
Well, Byron Jones coming from the Cowboys, he's a definitely great cover corner, which I think fits well with the Miami Dolphins. Miami played good defense. They've never been all about the take 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 the ball away kind of deal. Not necessarily the bend don't break defense, but I think Byron Jones is a huge help to that corner slot position. But I mean they're just so young everywhere. I think this defense is going to be on the field a lot. I think they're going to kind of struggle. They did have Alan Hearns opt out. Um,
Okay.
that kind of hurt him a little bit, but not too many opt outs for them.
Oh, Xavier Howard opted out. I was wondering why I couldn't find his name.
Yes, yeah. Oh no,
Okay.
he did not opt out. I believe they tested him positive for COVID.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully he'll come back at some point then.
Yeah, because it
He's been
actually says
one of their best defenders for a long time.
it doesn't say he voluntarily opted out. It says that he has COVID-19, so he
Gotcha.
might have tested positive. Um, I do think the Dolphins. I think they might fall if Tua doesn't start and they let Ryan Fitzpatrick run the helm for the entire season, all 16 games. I think the Dolphins probably end up maybe 8-8 at best.
Okay.
Um, even if Tua comes out the woodwork and he gets to play, and they want to get him a little time, maybe 8-8 at best. I don't
Okay.
know if this team does any better. Does much better than 5-11. Um, I don't think they're going to contend for the number one spot in this division.
Yeah, they got hot last year and forgot they were tanking. So the sky's the limit for them. As far
Yeah,
as I'm concerned, Fitzmagic, we'll see how much he has, and if Tua gets a chance, I really like Tua. You know that.
yeah.
Tua is going to be a phenomenal pick for them for a lot of years. Um, well, let's go
Yeah.
ahead and wrap this up then, man. Who do you think is walking away with this division
I
when
think
it's
the
all said and done?
Bills. I think
Okay.
the Bills walk away with this
Who's
closely.
gonna compete with them then?
Okay,
That's a better question.
so man, it's tough, but I don't think the Patriots can rebound from as much as they've lost.
Okay.
So it's got to be Bills and the Jets is my
The
one
Jets.
and two.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Bills and Jets right there.
Right on. I'm a little torn, man.
Yeah,
I'm a little torn. I've watched the Patriots for a long time as a Tom Brady fan.
yeah,
I'm a little torn. I really am. There's so much going on there that just as football fans, man, we can't sit here and act like we know.
yeah. A lot of
Um,
change in the Patriots, man. That's
I
change is hard to deal with too.
I wanna say the Bills will be, or the I'm sorry, I want to say the Patriots will be in it. Will be contenders for the division, but I do think the Bills will walk away and win it.
All right.
Um, and then I would say the Jets would be three, and I'd say the Dolphins are coming in fourth. But the Dolphins are on their way too. They had
Yeah,
a bunch of draft picks this year. They're going to be young. The Dolphins fans are really hyped about their coaching staff. They feel like they've laid the foundation. And then the Dolphins have a plethora of draft picks again next year.
yeah.
And so those guys are on their way up. But yeah, I think we agree that the Bills are going to run it.
I actually think the Patriots will fall to 4. I think
Really?
they took too many hits. I think the Dolphins will be better than them,
Okay.
or maybe the exact same record. They might both go 8-8, but I
Okay.
I think the Dolphins made a huge leap with youth and talent, and the Patriots just took hit after
Sure.
hit after
Sure.
hit this year. 6 starting players opted out. Like that's brutal. That's
Yeah.
and then Tom Brady, like the guy has done everything with nothing on offense.
Right.
So
Right.
not many guys can you find that can do that. Like I talked about in another video, was Russell Wilson, Tom Brady. Man, they're
Yeah.
one of the two guys that can produce with nothing around them.
Yeah.
And when they do have something around them, they're amazing.
Sure.
So I think that's gonna be kind of the
Do you
AFC East.
do you
They're gonna
think they'll
go
be
from
bad
one.
enough to be a top five team, to be like in number one pick contention? I
See,
mean, are we talking Trevor Lawrence here for the Patriots, or?
I think they're gonna be top 10 in the draft. I don't think
Okay.
they're gonna be top 5, but if it's Bill Belichick's goal to be top 5, he's gonna
Yeah,
make it
he'll
happen.
do it. He'll do it for sure.
So that's he's not afraid to do what he's got to do to win.
It's
And
all
if he's
strategy.
got to,
Yeah.
yeah, he's got to play that strat. He lost a huge quarterback, which we all know that's one of the most, if not the most important position in the NFL in football. So I wouldn't be surprised if they made top 5. But if if we're talking like they're pushing to try to win the division, I think they'll end up top 10 most likely.
Okay. Right on.
Well, guys, I think that about wraps it up for the AFC East. If you like this video, go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let us know what you think about what we said, and yeah,
Any
we're gonna go ahead.
feedback is appreciated. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you know who this Tom Brady guy is.
Yeah, Tom Brady. I don't know. He might be important. Maybe not.
Yes,
Patriots might miss him.
yeah. I don't know. We don't really know much about him, but no, guys, we really appreciate y'all watching. Thank y'all for everything. Tune in next time.
Peace.